wait. Properties? No, set to that. Fantastic. There it is. Alright. Let's see. There we go. Get this actually closer to my face. Adjust in-game music a little bit. I think that should be good. And, alright, cool deal. Alright. So, I've kind of been feeling a little stunted in my whole of, how do you say it? Being creative. So, I was told that if you are not feeling as creative or you need some kind of, like, creative, like, boost, to check this game out. And it's made by the same people that made the Stanley Principle. So, we're going to give it a shot, see how it goes. I am curious. And, yeah. I'm just going to be one more second here. I just want to check something before all is said and done. Think I did this, so let's just make sure it is saying the right one, or that will be super awkward. Okay. Okay. Cool. There you go. Okay. Yeah, so this is the beginner's guide. And we're going to go through it. See if it makes that creative juices flow to kind of like get past my whole block on creating stuff right now. Please make sure audio is on. It sounds very much like it's on. My controls. Okay.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together. is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
Okay, well that was
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
no shift run. But I'm starting to get why this is kind of like, this is explaining like the thought process of, you know, somebody
Security
who
code
built
reached.
so
Hostile
many
enemy
interesting
rifle.
things, but never made them happen.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Let's lower this just a little bit.
Enemy force neutralized.
There you go.
Begin ship evacuation.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
I feel for this because like a lot of the times I do Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and very much the same way I create doors that will probably never be
Apparently,
open.
the space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh, that's whatever.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Oh, interesting. Well, very philosophical thing, right? Could you give of yourself, throw yourself into an engine, and save the world? Yeah, why not?
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
You restart. Interesting. Okay. Oh no! You start to float through the ship. Oh, that's
The
even
beam
funnier.
causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
The past was behind her. Okay. I can't move though. Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
In this game, you can only walk backwards.
Interesting. Took me a second. Interesting. Only making W work.
So
But
it's a short
the
and
future
relatively minimalist
cannot be
experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete.
Why does
Code
the
is
future
trying to
keep
give it a
changing?
unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Becomes clear when she stops and looks. Interesting. I get this. Like, it's a bunch of inspirational kind of like, this is what happened. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to move forward, to confront it? Oh.
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that.
Yep.
Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Oh. Anyone where the darkness is like just out. You are now entering the Twilight Zone.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Nonsense in every direction.
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
I felt that way. Like, I've tried to do things, tried to make something, and I couldn't. It just, whatever it was, it just would not come out of my brain.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute
and
crawl,
I just didn't want to
the
deal
door
with
at the
it.
top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Oh, it was all his ideas.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
That actually makes me sad. Wow.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Huh. I have things like that too, but it's just paperwork, really. It's just text. Interesting. I think sometimes you have to see through another creator's eyes in order to kind of like know where you want to go. Sometimes you don't even know where you want to go until...
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Well, didn't expect that to actually work, but it did. Let's see. Okay. So the mist doesn't Okay. Oh, there you go.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
Well, it's a and if statement. If the door is closed, or if the door is closed, and then the button. I don't know. All right. Okay.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Alright. Whoa.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything.
Yeah.
That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
That is crazy. You are exiting.
Aha. So this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Each one was a piece of this bigger puzzle.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Huh. Oh. Ooh, that was close. What's up there, Dark? How's it going? Uh-oh, I think I missed it. Yep, totally missed. Oh, well, it didn't matter. I guess I don't take fall damage. How's it going, bud? can't hear? No worries. Oh, looks like I've been locked in. To a jail cell? Like a prison. Now you can. Oh. 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 Oh.
This prison, funny enough,
imprisoned.
in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
I'm playing a game called The Beginner's Guide, and the reason why
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot.
is I kind of
whether
felt a
game ought to
little
actually be playable, whether it
stunted
means anything if no one can get through it.
in my
And I would
creativity.
always defend that, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
Yeah, so I've kind of felt it stunted and kind of like my creativity. So this is supposed to be like a game that's supposed to help your creativity by kind of delving into this other creator's like thought process and how he did things, and like the good and the bad and kind of the sad of it. And so yeah, I'm kind of playing this in order to kind of try to get my creativity back, just because I feel like I've been kind of like creativity drained. So that's the plan. I'm just gonna kind of play this and see what obstacles in my own brain hopefully go away.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Wait, hold on one sec here. Let's go to options. Problem is like I lowered it for you guys, but I didn't really lower it for me. There we go. Now I can raise it up on my stream deck. There we go. A whole day of in-school suspension tomorrow for playing with a pencil? That seems weird. Like, as much as things change, I guess a lot of it stays the same. They still kind of have those weird moments. Still option audio. Let's bring it down to like right here. Just out of curiosity. Okay. What's advanced options? Doesn't matter. Alright, back. Continue. But yeah, it seems silly for them to do that, but I guess that's just how it goes. Listen. Oh.
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
I'm making you play Valorant. I don't know, maybe one day. Oh, for the pick a game. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, we could probably, yeah, I mean, you spend the things, I'll play a game of, or some Valorant for a night. Let's see. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Huh. Oh. I've been right here this entire time. What happens if I solve it? If I had any suspicions, what you find won't be worth what it takes to get there. You have another chance to solve it soon. I gotcha. No worries, bud.
And so
Hope
we
you have a
make
great
one last
night.
descent down to the final floor of the level.
I'm just soaking up the things. Maybe I should try to play Unreal or make a game on Unreal. Maybe that's what I need to do to
It's a
kind of like
lamppost. Okay,
spawn
I can't tell you
creativity.
quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think.
It's like a
I think
beacon.
that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something.
A beacon,
He wants a
something
destination,
yeah.
which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
I don't know. I think we all have some kind of beacon in our game, something that we're supposed to be drawn to, or the characters are supposed to be drawn to, or the world is supposed to be centered around. Nice room, not little
So
thought
first
bubbles.
off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're going to see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. and I cooled off eventually. Feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them.
I want to tell you
Either
a secret.
way,
Once
to
upon
me
a
they
time,
convey
I
a sense
did.
of loneliness. I see this person
Define
who's filled
fun.
with thoughts and
Balls.
feelings and beliefs and has no way to
How
express
is there
them
wood and grass
except
and
as
concrete?
scattered and
Here,
unheard
what the
voices
fuck?
in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
The funny part of it is like these are kind of
But
thoughts
it's
that
ironic,
I have.
isn't it? That
This
in
game
playing
is
this
so
game
no
and
nice.
seeing
I would
how
like
alone
it when I
Coda
could.
often
Yeah.
felt, that we get to know
feel
him
like a
better
hero
and
yet?
actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy
Cool
in-person
game, bro.
socializing.
Running out of
I could just
space.
get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
I wrote much wrong. I saw a flying penguin, let me tell you. It was the most majestic thing I've ever seen. I don't feel like living because nothing will ever be as majestic as that. I never want to see it again. Never want to see again if nothing will ever be that beautiful again. I am crying now and I plan on oh dang. Wow. That got dark real quick. What the shit is the cavern? Well, boring. She guarantee that there is an acorn somewhere here in this place, and the sailor are looking for it. Interesting. Holy crud! I'm realizing. Hey guys, just looking for someone to talk with. Yeah. I refuse to believe. This seems like what I did in like basic back in the day. But ass butt. Need to go to the freaking bathroom. Recognize me, please. Wow. There's a lot going on down there. Nothing here, go back. Don't listen to that guy. A free t-shirt. Need other side door, why you so? Door how you open, open sesame. Make game includes door. Cannot open door, thanks. Okay. I thought you had to go through that. Okay. Someday I'll meet the person who made this. I help people because of the eternal good feeling I get. New room. Hear the chimes? They keep you going, don't they? I haven't heard any chimes. Like to very much to be a desire. Or to be desired. Scared of writing something? Don't want to feel judged? Yeah, I feel that all the time. You can go in here, I think. That's why I don't do voices in my Dungeons & Dragons games very much. Because I feel like I'm going to be judged for the voice acting, like just my shitty voice acting. Even though I enjoy being a DM, it just feels like sometimes you just, yeah. Writing a thing or saying a line, even though, you know, you want to be, I don't know. I don't really know where to go with this. Yeah, I don't either. Game where you leave notes and suddenly everyone's a poet. This is where I get off. Failed to write anything here. I am compelled. Stop, turn back. Proceed further will only result in misery. Take my hand, let's jump together. Cabbage shapes our nation. What is that paint? What is that painting? Oh yeah. Hey, don't talk about me that way. It's not matter if you ever get over there. A very good game. Think I'm. This is not going anywhere. Next time I will do better. I need someone to talk to. This is a note. Don't listen to the other notes. I'm not safe. I need an adult. Today I learned you cannot fall off. Oh. Ethical. Yeah, I tried to just jump off just now, but after it said you cannot jump off. Which in most games when they say that, saw a person walking down there and now it won't come back. Devil Tower Star? I don't know, it feels like how I am, scattered, like, what's that, like, ADD, like, attention deficit disorder, like, you're just, every one of these is just a different random thought. Stop faking it. Wow, that's something I've told myself before. Art. Whoever made this has issues. Yeah, who doesn't? Who are all of you? Hey guys, how's it going? Just hanging? Help, I'm trying to speak. I think it's about how things look messy from up close and perfect from far away. From up here, it just looks like dots. That's actually weirdly profound. From far away, it looks like a painting, but as you get closer, like, it looks like a cool painting hanging on a wall. But up close, it just looks like a bunch of dots. We'll all die someday. Fantastic. Spoilers, it doesn't mean anything. Stop pretending you are other people. Wow, the game is pretentious and you all suck. Devil Tower Star. What is a Devil Tower Star? He was himself the most horrible creature he could imagine. Damn. That's some deepness right there. Maybe I'll feel real someday. Well, I'm here now. Yeah, we're all here now. Must be a reason for it, though. His terrible secret, he kept it well. I beat the game. Did you, though? More room.
At the end of this level, we're
Scared
going to
of
see
writing
the puzzle
something?
again.
Don't want to feel
and here,
judged.
I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it.
Cut it up and spread it
And
between
the puzzle
worlds.
is a way of closing the door on a
Almost
previous
there.
chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
I've seen everything. I have traveled the world. I have never told anyone. If there was notes in the real world, that'd be an interesting thing. Become one with the spiral nonsense. Downward, keep digging.
In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult,
You
Coda
close
can
your
then
eyes and
place
wish
this
for it
puzzle
really bad.
that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly
Almost
how
at
it
the
works,
end.
and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
Does the puzzle have a solution? Oh my god, I've been here for literally an hour. What the fuck do I do? Help! Help! Shit, how do you solve it? Developer answers, please.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
But what is the bigger picture? That's the question. But he always has this one. Oh. How do you leave notes? That's so I don't know. A long time ago, there was a thing that if there was a room full of typewriters, and they were all typing, that sooner or later, they would create Shakespeare. I don't know if that's what he was referencing in there, but...
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Oh. Is it gonna just be this over and over again? Oh, okay, we're seeing a return to this flooring.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
How's this version 2? What furniture ought to go in the center of the room? Okay. Along the wall of the room. 10 stoves lined up along the wall. Let's put a huge picture of a horse. I'd really like a washing machine. Let's go with a huge picture of a horse. Okay, so it just doesn't, we should light up this room. Skylight, full ceiling window. Let's open this baby up. Thinking 10 by 12 recessed electric 6-inch soft LED ceiling lights with floral trim. Put a live Tesla coil at each corner. Let's put a live Tesla coil in each corner. Oh, nope, that was the lamp. Table, you need a table. Who are you? What exactly are you doing this from? Pretty sure none of my choices are making any difference.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
Yeah, it's a puzzle of furniture.
So, okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
God will be able to enable you to escape any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully, take care that you remember each step. First, click on this table. Good, go over to the photo frame and click to turn it slightly. Okay. Now turn the floor lamp in this room off. Okay. Turn the floor lamp in this room off, then turn it back on. Oh, I gotta turn it back on. Now go to the left side sofa, move it over a little. Okay. Finally touch the shelves. Sit. It's in a real prison. Escape will now open. Return to the start to be taken back to your prison. Okay. Returned. Yay. So wait, he feels kind of like is he feeling trapped in this prison of like,
and of course,
not being able to make what he wants, or not having
an
an idea? Sometimes it makes me wonder.
Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it.
See
And
my
that's
collection
it.
for I
He's
did,
done.
I
He
did.
stops making prisons.
It was
This
good.
is the
I
very
liked
last
it.
version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
Ah, lamppost, that beacon.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
But yeah, I did see it, Dirk. How interesting. All he told me to do was to be sincere. It's
I
weird.
can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it would be.
So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself? To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Did use that door a lot.
you'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
I don't know, playing this game, oddly enough, like, kind of makes you sad. Like, there's some loneliness to it. Like, a deep loneliness to this game of one man who built all these games even though nobody ever really saw them. I guess in a way they do get seen, but I don't even know if the guy actually wanted them to be seen. That's interesting. Interesting. Talking about how he's got some demons of his own. It's easier to clean someone else's home than to clean your own. It's very interesting. Failed to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? Well, make it especially cheesy.
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
Whenever you work, whatever work you do, you have to absolutely got to own it. Otherwise, it owns you. So why
I know
don't
that
we
Coda
be
really
with the
liked
task
this
at
game.
hand and leave the future chores
Of all
to
of his
future
work,
you?
actually, this was the only one that he
Present you
called me
wants
up to ask me to come over and
soothe
look
out
at.
the rug in the bedroom.
This was during a period of a
Believe it
few
or
months
not.
where he was like
Trust me on this one.
grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
When I said I had a really cheesy thought, I was going to say that it occurs to me this one house is a lot like one soul. You take care of it and it takes care of you. Huh. I don't know why I felt so weird about saying that. I get it. It's a weird thing to say to someone you just met. No, but there's a bit of truth in it. Yeah, I agree. A bit of truth in that. But of a sad truth. Wow, didn't expect to have a existential crisis while playing a game.
glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
This game, it feels just like you're constantly
But,
doing...
of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Interesting. You can't stall, you have to keep moving. That's how you stay alive. Very profound in a way. Very deep. It's hard to keep moving sometimes. There's that beacon.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it. This one gets a bit goofy.
Why'd you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationship more meaningful? No, you came here to become perfect. Workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. Something tells me that's not true. I want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am. Right now, who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you know who is so well developed as a person that they make you feel disgusted with yourself? Compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful, I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp. The question is not how do we do it, but how do we do it effortlessly? This is easy. It's so easy.
About halfway through the game,
it's so
the
easy
perspective
being
shifts.
perfect is effortless. Oh shit. What appears to be a
And you
giant...
play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
This is the key. How do I achieve it with no effort? On the other hand, to work, I told an elderly person to start contributing to society. Kids should not follow their dream. Wow. Okay, I can only move around down here. What appears to be the eye of Sauron. The key is how do I achieve it with no effort? Well, let me tell you right now, if it isn't effortless, then it's not the right answer. That make me feel cold on the inside. Being alone must be awful. If you are torturing yourself trying to find the right solutions for your life, you're not doing it right. Thank goodness all of you perceive me as being wise and intelligent. You understand that you won't be happy until you love me. This is for you. Seek out only one thing. What is the easy? I'm helping assist. Ooh, that's probably not the one. There's no truth. There is no path. Anyone want to do this ecstasy after this? Oh no. There's no truth. There is no path. What if I'm not a good teacher? Do what is easiest. Do what is simplest. Feel what is true. Holy shit, you guys, something is coming out of the back of the room. Look out. Okay. Man, that feels like the one. Nothing, no one. It's coming for you. It's going to destroy you. Everyone run. You know, you gotta have everyone run. Dude, like, dude is just kicking
this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days.
Yeah.
This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Oh. Wow. This right here is like actually a dream that I had that was like kind of filled me with fear. Cause like to be on stage and like such a big thing as like this performance and not knowing, like they'd be like, oh, you're a professional, like all these people, and then you're like, I have no clue what I'm supposed to be doing here. You're just started leaning against the wall. Okay. How interesting. Successful, focused, happy, wise. Do it again. Here are all of my hopes and dreams. I said to her at all. So the tone of this conversation. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. So reason was just the one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's that you need a better feel of the setting. There's a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with. The cones bounce when you touch them will resemble the people nearby. Now talk to her again. You have worked really hard to get where you are. I'll bet you learn to lean into the pain. What are some sacrifices you've had to make? Interesting. You're messing it all up again. Freaking her out if the conversation gets personal that quickly. Do you not realize how important this was for me? I'll never get another opportunity like this again. Everything was riding on this. Try stepping back from the stage. Oh, okay. It's the lamppost again, the beacon, the guiding light in a way. Oh, back in prison. Huh, I can see that. Maybe it's like the second you start to feel creative or whatever, and then suddenly
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Something enormous just appeared on the radar. Help! I'm blind. I can't see anything. What's going on? I'm blind. Blind medical? You do something, can you fix this? Everybody is blind. Oh no, it's the door. It's coming for me. Help, I'm blind. Oh, no I'm not. That door is just smashing us in the...
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
That door is definitely coming. Okay. This feels very much... Oh, the whisper drive. It's going, something enormous. Okay, help him. Can't see anything. Do something to solve this. Oh, wait. To stop it is to speak something that is honest. Oh, okay.
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way. His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
I do have to say it's impressive because he's actually completing things. I feel like I haven't been. It's a lot prettier.
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this.
There's a
Here's
problem.
a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for? Because from my perspective at the time, and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on. You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
Damn, that's some dark shit right there. You can hear the kind of like crying and
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering. This is someone I really cared about, and I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me. I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
interesting.
But it didn't stop.
But it didn't stop.
After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
The door again. It calls itself Coda. Interesting. I guess he sees himself not as a person, but as a machine that keeps putting out these games. Do you know where the poisonous games have come from? Well, that's...
And of course, it's the machine.
The creativity, his creativity. go to the people who are out there and apologize to them. You have to admit to the people that you allowed them to suffer. I don't know, let's see. Apologize for leaving me, the creativity for leaving him. Interesting. We do not need its games. How interesting. What an interesting way to put it. Let's show that we are not failures. How interesting. Follow me, we will destroy everything the machine has created. Which would be... Oh, and now we're back on the stage. And the gun.
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
So he's basically sitting there. He was gonna show off Coda's work so that Coda could get positive feedback, because Coda, like many developers, feels scared to get kind of like the feedback on stuff that we do as a like build or create or write. And we in our own, like, kind of self-destruct our own stuff in our head, I guess. Like, I mean, that's what it feels like for me, anyway.
Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Except when you do things like that, sometimes it doesn't help the person.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend, I did something. I really felt like I'd done something good. Like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy.
But it didn't make Coda happy, did it?
So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So
Yeah.
this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
Wow. I didn't expect it, like, in some sad, truthful, like, dark way. Like, oh, I didn't expect to have, like, existential
And this is where I have
crises while
trouble
playing
saying
this.
anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
Yeah, I feel that too. Sometimes I feel like I'll start to do well or start to feel creative, and then I feel myself kind of like pulling back and
This
just
room
into
actually has
work.
a maze in it. Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
I'm not gonna lie. Alright, we're just going over the bridge, or the maze. If it didn't flash
And to be fair,
red.
it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze?
Stay away, it seems like. Go away, leave me alone. Seizure robots.
The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
Well, 15, 16, 17. How? I mean... So what does that mean? Like, does it have a meaning to Coda? Did it have a meaning? Oh, no. Those informative years.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem.
Yeah.
But I can open this door for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean.
I was wondering that, the 3 dots. But in a way, the 3 dots are like, if you go like DC style, I think that's Brainiac.
I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed.
Yeah, I've had that feeling before, especially with a couple of friends
Where
who...
did I screw up?
I don't know, maybe we never kind of had that moment of like clarity with each other, or we never could get on the same wavelength, and yeah, you kind of feel like you're a failure for not being able to like meet them at the middle.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you.
Had something kind of similar to this happen to me.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable. And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
Wow. You so infected my personal space that it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere, hidden between games. If there was an answer, a meaning, would it make you any happier? Stop taking my games and showing them to people against my wishes. Giving them something that is not yours to give, violating the one boundary that keeps me safe. Yeah, that was my curiosity when he was telling about going and giving it to other people. Was like, yeah, I mean, how does this guy feel about it? How does Coda or this, feel? Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them? Wait, I thought he added the lampposts to them. Or maybe it's making his own beacons in the game, like his own ideas of what they are.
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just a part of the process. Is it though? I mean, I guess maybe for some. In fact, do you think I am frustrated or broken says more about you than about me? Realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine, you're not my problems to solve. Damn. But I do hope that one day it clicks and that you make peace with this. Mario RPG Remake is tonight. Oh. Cass is playing Museum Simulator. No, so I've kind of like hit this rut in my own creativity of like things that I want to do or how to do them or things like that. And I was suggested this game. And I thought, well, why not give it a shot? And it's very interesting because it's like this creator who kind of like, you kind of learn that while he's like had this process and doing all these things, and this other person who was the person who wrote the Stanley Principle, he was very intrigued by this other creator named Coda, which I doubt is probably the real one. Cast vs. Wild Hearts is on Game Pass. Oh, interesting. I do have the Game Pass. But yeah, so all these things, all these emotions, all these existential crises come kind of from this, and with this knowledge and this person Coda slowly kind of like stops having fun being a creator, but he also figures out that it's like this process between these two creators is also kind of like wearing him out, and that's where we kind of are at this moment. He sent his last game to the creator of Stanley Parable, kind of explaining that he wasn't going to be talking to him anymore, which is like really sad in that deep kind of way of just this flat out knockout kind of like journey. I don't know. And I had somebody for myself that was very similar. Like our creative ways didn't really mesh the way like I think either one of us hoped. And I think in a way, by us not meshing, in some ways we kind of were like sandpaper against each other. And kind of like caused our own creativities to like dry up. And so, like, I kind of get where this is coming from. It's kind of, like, making me a little sad. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but it's a very interesting thing. And it's weird because somebody who I know who has kind of similar um, thoughts about games and stuff like that told me that I would enjoy this, which I am enjoying it. But at the same time, I'm feeling like I probably shouldn't have streamed it because I'm kind of taking it more to heart than I am, or than maybe I should. But it's very it's a lot hitting me a lot harder than I thought it would, and um, yeah. So anyway, I we will continue on, but um, actually, I could use Mario RPG right now because I could use something lighthearted. Because man, is this hitting me hard? um,
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
don't say anything. Oh.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Grand Central Station. Looks very much like Grand Central Station.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
I think in a way this is kind of like the parable of like, oh, you need more, and that's why you kind of are afraid, maybe, because what if they hate it? What if they don't like it? What if they are angry? But Coda, I think in his own way, because he would continue to make them and throw them away, he was complete because he didn't care. He didn't need anyone to tell them that his games were good or bad, they were just his games. And when he was done, when he had made what he wanted to, he threw it away. But this other creator, the one that's talking in the story, he needed validation. He wanted Coda to have this validation, and in doing so, he was Coda was adding things, changing the way he was, not because he wanted to change it, but because in a way he started changing it for this person, for this other creator. But if you're gonna make something, are you better for making it for yourself, or is it better because you're making it for other people to consume and enjoy?
Solution.
It's kind of a deep question.
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
It's weird because it just feels like you're walking,
Even now,
through
the
emptiness.
disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you. If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
It's weird to think of like all the outside validation. Like in a way, a Twitch streamer, or we see. I don't know. Maybe not all people, maybe not all Twitch streamers or all YouTubers or anything like that. But
What now?
I guess there is that need for outside validation, or at least somebody coming in and recognizing or seeing you, or just saying hi.
I think I need to go.
Like, how do you not
I'm sorry,
want outside
I know that I said that I would
validation?
be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna... Okay.
Like, very existential, like, crisis kind of thing. Like, well, crap. What does that mean? Like, do you change your creativity? Do you lose your creativity when you're not, when you're like trying to come up with something that you're not doing more for the love of it than the validation or praise from it? Does everything shatter and break or crack or turn to sand? Like the character in here, Coda, or at least the person in here named Coda, created prisons maybe because the prison was, he just wanted to isolate each game, or maybe he felt isolated from the world. It's kind of a weird thought. When you're excited about something, do you finish it faster because you want, like, because you're excited to finish it? Or is it because you're excited to show it off? Or does it become longer because you're afraid of whether or not someone's going to hate it or not like it? Or do you want to make it bigger so that they'll like it because it's more extravagant, more crazy, more of one of those moments where you have to look back at the beginning, like why you did it in the first place, why you started streaming, or why you built cars, or why you know, do what you do. Hmm. I definitely should have played this game off stream. Oh man. Hmm. We're so seeing of our narrow, I guess, mind space. We didn't see the maze that went on in infinite infinitum.
Turn back, turn back from this cave. You said, let me prove that I'm brave, let me keep going. But the cave goes for miles and miles and miles, and you're so tired, but I know that you're
Damn. Well, oh, that hit quite hard. Um, I think this is probably where I'm gonna end it. Wow. I think I should have just played that off stream, but it was, it was good. Gave me a lot to think about in a weird way. Um, I don't know. Kind of like, in some way, I guess maybe people just all have kind of similar stories to that. Finding those people that just maybe you put too much on, or maybe they put too much on you, or maybe they, you know, can't you can't find that common ground, uh, and especially when you do play video games or have ideas, or you're trying to find your creativity and your voice, and but yeah, dang. No, I am gonna look into buying Mario RPG Remake, so um, I will probably be picking that up. Maybe I'll stream it or something. I don't know. Nintendo has a whole big, go after you thing. But I think right now, I gotta. Man, I feel like I should go take a walk or something, clear my head. That hit me hard. Anyway, uh, thank you for hanging out and being around. I think I'm gonna see if there's somebody doing something, and I don't know if there's. Yeah, I just cat sounds sad and tired. It hit me like right in the like in the weirdest way, like in this weird like nostalgia, like philosophical and like deep way, I guess. I don't know. Um, cause like I could see where that guy. Yeah, I do definitely need a hug. But damn, I mean, did definitely give me a lot to think about. Um, I don't know, just about everything. It's funny that sometimes the most poignant um, I don't know, thoughts can come from like the most unique places. I did not when I played this, I expected it to be like, ooh, look at, look at what other people are creating. You could create this kind of a game or something. I didn't expect it to kind of like be the telling of a friendship that blossomed and then like corroded and died. uh, while telling kind of like the story of essentially one person's need to be validated, while another person's need was to just build his games uh, and to have his own creativity without the intervention of all these other factors, I guess. And so yeah, it was very, it was a lot deeper. I think it was like a $15 game, or maybe it was a $10 game. I can't remember. It really only lasted 2 hours, but man, it told a deep story uh, in a very um, like rich and weird way. And yeah, it just, I don't know. It's like hit me right in the feels. I don't know. Not much hits me in the feels anymore. So maybe that's why it's hitting harder. Is like, because like the whole idea, I think, being behind a streamer is sometimes being that lighthearted, fun, you know, uh, doing insane things. Maybe not doing insane things because I'm very calm, but you know, just you know, being funny or dying a lot, which I do all the time because games are, I'm bad at games. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'd take a breather. I think I'm gonna go take a walk and shake it off in a way. Probably not gonna be back tonight though, but um, I will check out Mario RPG. I am looking forward to seeing that and wishing I had just played Dead Space. I'm not gonna lie. Dead Space Remix wouldn't have hit me this hard. Just most likely because it's doesn't have any emotional attachment whatsoever. But this hit me right in the remembrance, I guess, of past events. But anyway, have a great rest of your night. And thank you so much for hanging out. Really do appreciate it if you're out there in TV land or Twitch and YouTube, whichever one. Um, I've started streaming to my ArcLight Tavern channel um, on YouTube as I kind of want to do some things. I think that's kind of why the creative like idea is I don't know why I kind of feel creatively stumped right now because there's stuff I want to do, but it's hard to do what you want to do without, you know, spending a ton of money. So anyway, I'm rambling because I this game kind of left me rambling, feeling weirdly rambly. So anyway, have a great rest of your night. Thank you for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you next stream.